What's going on, everybody? GemMint here, and today we're going to review the Punisher Max Omnibus by Jasj Aaron. Recently, somebody asked my thoughts on this book, and I realized I've never read it. I did a Punisher read-through where I did the Garth Ennis Marvel Knights run, the Garth Ennis Max run, and I guess I was Punishered out, and I never got around to this. It was a thin book. I figured, let me knock it out. Man, I picked this up, and I breezed through half of it in one sitting so fast. It was a page-turner. This is going to be a gory, rated R, rated XXX review, guys, so don't let your kids watch this one. Make sure you're not watching at work with the volume up loud, and we're going to jump into this review. I do want to thank Dynamite Entertainment for sponsoring this video. Make sure to check out the new comics they have coming out this week for February 2nd, Hell Sonja #2 and Red Sonja Valentine's Day Special 2020. I'm definitely going to pick up that Hell Sonja 2. I loved issue 1. And also, Dynamite and I are going to have a live comic book auction and claim sale. Nick, why don't you give them a little preview of what's going to be on the auction?
So we've showed you our cool Dynamic Forces and Dynamite comics, the limited editions that'll be on the air on Friday, February 4th at 8:30 p.m. But we have more, as we've said. We are going to have some really cool key CGC graded books like Werewolf by Night #1, Marvel Spotlight with Moon Knight's first solo story, Strange Tales 114, the first Silver Age appearance of Captain America, even though we all know it's not the real Captain America, Spider-Man Unlimited, which is still heating up, Captain America becoming Nomad. But here's the really, really cool out of left field. We're going to have Thor Journey into Mystery 95 and up on the show. Now, we don't have every issue, but we have some really cool key issues. And here's two of my favorite right here, 105 and 106 with Cobra and Hyde. And you still get Loki and Odin. Imagine that. Look at this. You got the gargoyle. Check it out. And we have even more here. More here. So like I said, Friday, February 4th, beginning at 8:30 p.m. only on GemMint. I hope to see you there.
I appreciate that, Nick. Guys, let's jump into this review. All right, guys, here we go. The cover of the Dust Jacket, Punisher Max by Jasj Aaron, Steve Dillon, Dave Johnson on the cover art here. Iconic covers on this book as well. Here we have the spine and the back of the book. This had a $100 cover price when it came out. I understand it's been long out of print and goes for much more on the aftermarket. Collects the 22-issue series plus Punisher Max Christmas Special issue #1. Here we have the interior of the Dust Jacket, talking a little bit about the story, some quotes from Jasj Aaron and Steve Dillon, a biography on the creators, and then we have the hardcover with some nice artwork here. This is one of the covers, one of the later ones if I recall, and just pretty much all white. So let's go ahead and jump into this, guys. Crazy book. Punisher Max will punish for ammo. And then the first arc is Kingpin, right? So what we get here is a unique Kingpin origin on how the Kingpin even came to be. Initially, in this story, the Kingpin wasn't the big bad boss. He was supposed to be a facade. He was supposed to be a myth that the crime bosses created using one of their bodyguards. Wilson Fisk was just a bodyguard here. And they wanted to prop him up as this myth, as this Kingpin that the streets would be afraid of. Guys, this is a graphic book. He's popping out eyeballs already. And it's brutal, man. There's going to be stuff in here I'm going to have to even skip over. The guy pops his eyeballs back into his head right before Punisher blows his brains out. It's crazy, man. So Kingpin goes back home. He's got his wife, Vanessa. They're living in like some New York apartment. They're kind of broke. He has goals. It reminds me of Griffith from Berserk. All he wants to do is be the Kingpin. So he wants to really use this opportunity to become the Kingpin for real. So here we get some more background on the Kingpin, him as a kid and how he tortured his father with the bag of rats here. Going into Kingpin with his time as jail, how he was brutally R-word in jail. Crazy, man. He just sat there and took it and just let it build his anger. And it talks about what he did for retaliation in this scene. He didn't go and kill the guy when he got out of jail. He went and found his family, his wife, paid crackheads to run a train on her as he took pictures and killed them. Man, it was brutal. And the artwork, so when I started reading this book, I was like, oh, Steve Dillon again. He did the Punisher Max stuff with Garth Ennis. And I was like thinking, why did Steve Dillon do it again? And then as I'm reading this book, I'm like, I think Steve Dillon's the only one that would have really went there. Like, he really goes there. And this is just scratching the surface. We're like 3 issues in. Brutal stuff depicted here by Steve Dillon. So, like I said, I breezed through this because it's broken down into like little arcs. So the first arc is the Kingpin arc. It's great. It's like, 5 or 6 issues. How Kingpin became, how he rises to power. He goes toe-to-toe with the Punisher here. Now, the Punisher is older. They've been aging the Punisher accordingly, just like Garth Ennis did during his time. So Punisher's like 60 years old. He's an old man. The streets are a little bit less afraid of him as they used to be. And, everybody wants to take down the Punisher. Here we have just some guy who lives out like in Amish country. He's, I guess, an ex-hitman that they're wanting to use. I feel like it's to take down the Punisher. We'll see here. Here he goes. So he's going against the Punisher. That was a cool little battle. Brutal. Punisher kicks him in the groin with a knife-toed boot here. He breaks Punisher's finger, so he braces them with a chain and punches him in the jaw. Very brutal stuff here. So right here showing Kingpin taking out all the mob bosses. So they're supposed to have this big meeting, but he really has them all taken out, hence becoming the one true Kingpin. So right here showing him taking out the last guy, the crime boss that he was a bodyguard for, takes him out. Now he's the Kingpin. Now what's interesting is here, so there's retaliation. They come to his wife and his son. And what's crazy about this, and what gives me Griffith vibes, he's got the knife to his son's throat. I don't think I could show the page. But Kingpin's like, man, I never thought my son and my family would be my weakness. And he lets the guy do it. He lets the guy kill his son in front of his wife, Vanessa. I don't even want to show that page because, I mean, man, they're literally slitting the throat of a child here. Vanessa lives, Kingpin lives, and man, this kind of starts a ripple effect throughout the rest of the book. A lot of heart in this book too, man. So this is back to that mercenary from Amish country showing how his wife is sick in bed and his kids are watching her. Hey, dad's going to be right back. Dad ain't coming back. He got a safe smashed on his face. So now Vanessa, she is obviously in deep depression, becomes an alcoholic, just whatever, throwing the bottle off the roof. Wilson Fisk has become the Kingpin, so he got what he wanted, sacrificed his son to let it happen, and then boom, we get introduced to Bullseye. Holy shit, Bullseye is so crazy in this run. So Bullseye comes in, basically he's gonna take down the Punisher, right? But he's really like crazy and insane, but like a fox almost, because he's got to really get to the bottom of who Punisher is, get in his mind so that he's able to kill him. Here we have Punisher going to see like his night nurse, a doctor that he was in the army with that will fix him up, no questions asked. At this point, Fisk is in his Fisk Towers, and he almost becomes a prisoner there. He basically can never leave the tower. He has all his security. He's got the bulletproof glass everywhere. And then this is the beginning of Bullseye vs. Punisher, which is crazy. So it's Bullseye Part 1. That's the second arc. Steve Dillon has such a unique art style. Like the eyes. You can tell it's a Steve Dillon piece just by looking at the character's eyes. He has a very similar way that he draws them all. Kind of gives me Eminem vibes when Bullseye puts on the beanie. And this is Bullseye. They've since taken down all Punisher's safe houses. So he's laying on his mattress naked so he can hear your dreams and he can channel Frank Castle. So like I said, sleeping next to Frank Castle's wife and kid's gravestone. He's crazy as hell, man. And he's a badass killer. Wearing a Punisher shirt. Just really like method acting this role. It's so crazy how they just pop people in the forehead like that. You're done. So he actually kills this guy so that he can live in a house with a wife and 2 kids, so he knows what it's like to feel like what the Punisher felt like when he had a family. And when he loses them. And he does all kinds of sick, demented things to them. It's crazy, man. Here's another look at Vanessa just passing out, throwing up, alcoholic, holding a picture of her son. Kingpin doesn't really seem to care. He's pretty heartless. Now, I'm pretty sure this is when Punisher kind of crosses the line, and this is a dirty cop that he has here. So with Punisher killing cops, kind of raises the stakes. The cops aren't really behind him anymore, just making it harder for him to operate. Look, he's got the cops' appendages plastered up on the wall here. So here goes Bullseye with the family at the park. He's actually hired hitmen to try to recreate that whole scene. And then you have Vanessa kind of pulling a Karen Hill Goodfellas on him. Here goes Punisher killing that dirty cop. Bullseye didn't feel anything when the family got killed. It's not working for him. And they're finally face to face once again. Now, Bullseye's got more of an idea of the Punisher's psyche and how to get to him. Now, at this point, Kingpin is kind of sick of Bullseye. He's wasting a bunch of money. He's killing random people, random families. I think he did that to like 3 or 4 families, they said. And Kingpin wants him out of there. But Bullseye, you know, it's not really about the money for him at this point. He really wants to take down the Punisher. Bullseye gets into it with Kingpin here, but then Punisher shows up to break that up. And then we get Punisher going up against Kingpin. Now, Punisher wants to take down Kingpin. I mean, he's heard this myth of the Kingpin. They didn't really believe it was real, but now that it's a known thing, Punisher's looking to take him out. Brutal here, man. Punisher fighting against Bullseye. Bullseye throws up in his mouth, and he can't breathe. Oh, how disgusting is that, man? Pokes him in the eye. Nails in the forehead. Jeez, man, it was a brutal bloodbath. This was like, look, just the elation of Bullseye blowing up the glass ceiling that they're in, falling down together. He loves it. He's enjoying every minute of his fighting with Punisher. This puts Bullseye out of commission until the end of this. I guess he's in the hospital or what have you. But Punisher gets taken in. He's in a hospital bed now. He's extremely vulnerable, and he's being put into prison, which we've seen the scenario before, but man, it's brutal. So crazily depicted in here. So everyone knows that Punisher's in the prison hospital bed here. Everyone wants to kill him, obviously, but everyone's scared to kill him. So he's still in the cell here. Now, Jasj Aaron, man, I've always noticed this about Jasj Aaron in his writing. He'll go there too, man. Like he'll do it like Quentin Tarantino style, or like he'll use racial slurs and slang. I don't know if that would even fly in today's day and age. That might be reasons why this type of book doesn't get a reprint. Now we're on to the next arc, Frank, and we're going back to Frank before he became the Punisher, and we find out a lot about how he became the Punisher and how he really became that in Vietnam. And when he got home, he couldn't get back to the regular lifestyle. He couldn't love his wife and family like he was supposed to. He just couldn't get it out of his head. And it's like this whole thing leading up to what was one of the last things that he said to his wife. And I'll wait till we get there. But it's basically like he already wasn't fitting in as a civilian when he came back from Vietnam. This is showing him one of his first jobs and all like the cruel things that are happening, all the crime that's happening around him, and him trying not to get involved. Flash forwarding back, to him in prison here. This guy, Big Jesus or Big Jesus, seemingly wants a crack at him, stabs this guard in his manhood. And this guy, like where Frank's working, sexually harassing employees, and Frank's just trying not to kill him. Here, he just didn't save him. And then Nick Fury shows up. So Nick Fury has been keeping tabs on Frank, I guess, ever since Vietnam. And when he first got back, and he really wanted to recruit him, he wanted to be on his side. But after what happened to his family, he kind of gives Punisher a little bit of a pass, it seems like. Punisher probably should have joined up with him before his family was murdered. See, look, like, just things aren't good at home for him. The wife's crying. He's kind of trying. That girl that was being sexually harassed gets killed. I guess it's like a connected mafia type of work environment. Big Jesus here going with the shiv. Here, this is kind of when Frank Castle really gets his hands dirty for the first time when he's back from Vietnam. He stops these, I guess they're Italian mob guys, from getting killed by these Irish mob guys. I don't know why he stops them, but they offer him a job, give him money, and he doesn't even take the money. And then boom, Nick Fury comes back again trying to recruit him, but Frank's not really with it. Now this is the problem. So the Italian mob, this is what sets up the dominoes for the whole Punisher origin here. So there's a riot now that started at the prison to try to get close to Frank. Frank obviously doesn't take the Italian mafia's offer for a job, which is what puts his family in danger when he goes to the park. Yeah, see, how does the park sound? So he's getting calls. He knows that they're kind of clocking him. And then here we are at the park. So what he says to her right before the hit is that he basically, he asks for a divorce. He says he can't do this anymore. And then I was reading this, and this hit me so hard. It's like, wow, man. Jasj Aaron, Steve Dillon, they went there. He's saying that he's leaving to his wife, and then boom, she gets popped in the chest. And I'm not going to show the next pages with the children, but man, they go there. Flashing back to the jail, now we're in a full-blown riot, and then we got Big Jesus. He's finally going to get his revenge because Punisher killed his brother or something like that. But it ended up not being that. It ended up being that his brother was, I guess, involved in that initial Kingpin rape, and it was his wife that Kingpin retaliated against. So he's actually breaking Punisher out so that he can help him enact his revenge against Kingpin. So that was a cool little twist. At the conclusion, he goes back to his home. He kind of has to. He has no safe houses anymore. And this is what I'm talking about. So Jasj Aaron will really go there, man. He's going to, like, the hood area. He's using slang that Jasj Aaron wouldn't use. I think that's pretty interesting. And I guess, I don't know, is that okay in this day and age? Is it like, you know, it's art, it's not real, it's Quentin Tarantino, like I said before? I don't know, man. You guys got to let me know what you think. Kingpin training, his mind's not there. He's taking licks. He meets somebody new here who happens to run some kind of organization called The Hand. They bring out Elektra. Kingpin is super disrespectful to Elektra because she's a woman, and she puts on a little demonstration. Killing 4 guys, not a drop of blood touches the ground. Popping out eyeballs, feeding their own eyes to them. Kingpin's convinced. Now he's got Elektra. Now the Hand doesn't want to kill Punisher, but they agreed to be hired by Kingpin to not allow Punisher to kill him. Somewhere along the lines, Elektra gets jealous of Kingpin with his whoas, and they end up forming a relationship, which is kind of interesting. But intentional once we see what happens a little bit later on. Flashback to Vanessa, that plays a good part here. This was interesting. So we're in a hospital wing. Punisher's there. We don't really know who this is. He won't wake up, and then boom, shoots him right in the head, right in the bullseye. So Punisher kills Bullseye. A lot of this played out like villains who could have killed the hero, but they, you know, talked about their whole plan instead. So it was cool to see Punisher not do that. Oh, there's Bullseye. Let's not even mess around and just kill him. She's brutal as hell, man. She cut this guy off like monkey. What? See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. So here's where we see that Elektra really is working with Vanessa, Kingpin's wife. And they actually have a romantic relationship as well. So they're having this whole plot to take down the Kingpin. Now, Punisher does something that, I think, did Kingpin do it already? Goes for the family. Digs up the son's coffin and sends a message to Vanessa and Kingpin. But you got to remember, Kingpin, he's kind of heartless, man. He doesn't really care. And this is kind of showing something like the streets aren't really scared of Punisher anymore. They're scared of Kingpin now. So here's a little scene. I don't know. It seems like Elektra is trying to get Kingpin to be Kingpin again. This is somebody that works for him that's caught stealing. She's been torturing him. Brings in his wife and child. Tells him to kill them all. He doesn't want to do it, but then he ends up, I guess, sending the wife away and leaves the boy there. Killing his father in front of him, telling him, look at me, I'm not sorry for any of it. Like, purposely setting something in this kid that's going to mess him up for the rest of his life. Like, brutal, man. Kingpin finally leaves the tower. He finally gets goaded out by Punisher. Not so much because he dug up his son or because his ex-wife wants him to retaliate, but I feel like Elektra kind of brings the Kingpin out of him for him to go hit the streets. But Punisher got the drop on Vanessa. Back to Vietnam, Frank's first kill. His first woman kill. Then we have here Elektra versus Punisher. Elektra runs up on Punisher because she's in cahoots with Vanessa, trying to get a hold of Kingpin. Kingpin thinks that Punisher will be at the gravesite, but he's really at Vanessa's house fighting Elektra. And remember, Kingpin doesn't know anything about Elektra and Vanessa's relationship, so he ends up finding out through this ordeal that Elektra's there. Like, why are you at my ex-wife's house? But then he knows. He doesn't get played. He doesn't fall for the bait. He goes to Frank's house, waiting for Frank to come back. Issue 21, the cover of the hardcover, showing Frank and his wife buying the house for the first time, flash forwarding to where they are now at the house for this final showdown with Kingpin. Flashing back to Barracuda and other stuff just throughout this Max run, the prior run, I should say. Just this battle, Kingpin and Frank. And yo, he kills Kingpin, takes him out. Boom. It's your city, but my world. And then this is where Frank starts walking back home. Just got to get home. He'll be all right if he makes it home. Boom. Doesn't make it. They kill Frank Castle in this run, which makes sense. I mean, reading Jasj Aaron's forward, I mean, we're aging in real time. He's 60 years old. He can't keep this up. He can't possibly do it. So this is a lot about Nick Fury identifying the body, him going back, burning down his house, his war journal, so that there's nothing left, just kind of cleaning up his mess for him, I guess. Vanessa dumping Wilson Fisk's ashes in the toilet. Elektra, this is like the first time we see her weak. There, I'm doing it. I'm moving my legs, aren't I? Nope. The hand kills her because she's not able to be that weapon anymore. Nice kind of like epilogue from Nick Fury. He, you know, no one's proud of Frank. He didn't do the right thing. He's going to hell. But the kind of caveat here is that there are other people willing to stand up and be inspired by the Punisher to do what's right in their neighborhood. So that was kind of like the one caveat. It's very good to read this afterward by Jasj Aaron. The Punisher Christmas special, it was all right. I mean, the art was way better, I thought. Same type of Jasj Aaron dialogue here. You gotta love Santa Claus Punisher mowing down mob guys, helping deliver a mob guy's wife's baby just to kill him and her once the baby's born because the baby is an innocent. And gives it to the priest that we saw in the bar in the beginning who's like lost his faith. So this is kind of a cool little one-shot. Doesn't tie into the main story, but a nice Punisher story by Jasj Aaron for sure. This is where he kills the father, the mob guy. And because the mother, she kills somebody right here that's coming after Frank while he's trying to deliver her baby. So Frank already knows, man, this wasn't the first time you killed someone. Boom, takes her out as well. Leaves the baby on the front step with a bunch of money. Cool. The N has some bonus material, a variant for issue 1 by Steve Dillon, because it was, what was it, Dave Johnson that was doing the covers. You got a script for issue 21. Pretty cool to have. And that's it, guys. All right, guys, and there we have it. Awesome book. What a great follow-up to Garth Ennis's Max run. It felt seamless. Same kind of gritty, raunchy dialogue, XXX, extremely violent, but it had a lot of heart to it as well, man. This is a fast read. If you guys are able to get, I don't know, digitally, single issues. I know the Omnibus is hard to come by. Not sure if they're going to do a reprint or not, but I really dug this series. Let me know what you think about Jasj Aaron's run in the comments down below. Let me know what other type of Omnis you want to see me read and review, and you guys stay minty fresh. But get the hell out of here. No, seriously, get out. I tried to tell these